Alright guys, so I've been noticing that a lot of people have been going through a lot of, let's say heavy stuff lately, especially these last couple months. And I've noticed this not only within my immediate family and friends and co-workers, but just on the planet in general. I mean, man, we're going through this, so many huge shifts right now, and a lot of full-on stuff is happening on this planet. Many of us may be facing these huge transitions in life, or we have to make like these big life decisions or business decisions or what have you, but we've just been going through a lot of shifts and changes, right? And this brings me back to a question that Richard Branson asks himself all the time when he has to face like this big life decision, or he has to go through this huge transition or whatever. And that is, what is the worst thing that can happen, and can you live with it, right? And man, this question is so simple yet so profound, and it just makes a lot of sense, right? Because man, so many of us can get so overwhelmed with these fears, right? And by nature, humans are so resistant to change because of that fear of the unknown. This is because of like survival reasons and stuff like that. And our mind loves to over amplify problems, right? So it makes things seem so much worse than what they actually are. And this is quite apparent in this society. Most people stay exactly where they are because they don't like to change, right? They don't want to step outside their comfort zone and step outside to the unknown, really. Like, I get it because it's very scary, right? But sometimes we just have to follow that fear. And if you... just stay up there. But anyways, like I was saying, if you actually look at it, fear is excitement without the breath. And if you look at this physiologically, it's the exact same feeling in the body. It's just perceived differently. So sometimes when you're so fearful of making that big change, or, quitting your job or traveling or whatever thing that you want to do, but you're just really afraid to do, that could be your body telling you to do it. And to go back to Richard Branson and how he asked himself, what's the worst thing that can happen? And can I live with it? Just ask yourself that question. Make a list, really think it through, and think of like the worst case scenarios of whatever decision you have to make. And then ask yourself, can I live with this? You're going to find that 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. For example, what I'm going to do is pretty fucking stupid and irresponsible according to most people in this society. I mean, I'm going to quit my stable job. I'm going to go traveling to South America and do these crazy psychedelic plant medicines and pursue my dream of being like this psychedelic YouTuber. Pretty fucking irresponsible, pretty stupid, yeah? According to the perception of most people. And this could be a very stupid decision, what I'm doing. But again, I ask myself, what is the worst thing that can happen, and can I live with it? All right, and then I break it down. Okay, let's say that worst case scenario would be that I get kidnapped in Mexico and get fucking sold to the cartel and get tortured. But come on, let's just be a little bit more reasonable than that.
That escalated quickly.
Let's just say, like, realistically, worst thing that can happen is that I completely fail with this YouTube stuff. I have to go back home to live with my mum, and I have to look for another job. Would that suck? Of course it would. Could I live with it? Yeah, of course I could. Again, no question. Because at least I tried. At least I went out there and got experience. Because, like, again, let's just say I went to do after this trip, and this whole operation, all my goals was just fell on its head and was a complete fail. At least I lived my life. At least I went out there and I stepped outside my comfort zone. And pretty safe to say that I'm going to learn a hell of a lot about myself and meet new people, have new experiences, make more connections and this and that. And it's all going to be for the better anyway. Even if this all goes to shit and I have to come back here and look for another part-time job, which would suck, but hey, you got to try it and you got to keep going. A lot of you may be going through a similar predicament where you feel like you want to quit your job, you want to do this, you want to travel, blah, 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 but you don't want to lose that security, and it's like, fuck, what happens if everything goes to shit? Well, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you have a roof over your head, you got warm clothes on your back, you have access to clean food and water, and, you know, maybe a lot of us can have parents or friends that we can stay at their house if shit really goes down. But at the end of the day, it's like, is it really that bad? You know what I mean? Like, is it worse than just staying at the shitty situation which you may be in and just staying there forever and not really knowing what could have happened? That to me would be like the worst torture ever. And you know what? This brings me back to like this rocking chair question, where you imagine yourself as an elderly person, you know, and then you ask yourself, would I have regretted not doing the thing that I'm afraid to do right now, right? Because that would suck, yeah? That is like my biggest fear. Not living to my true potential, not living my authentic life, right? And just having all these regrets of what not to do. Because those are usually the regrets that people have. It's not what they did, it's what they didn't do. Those are the things that fucking sting the most. So, sometimes it's just best to bite the bullet and do the thing you're afraid to do, even if it's like the irresponsible thing to do, because people want you to stay in line, they want you to stay in the system, and unconsciously, by the way, that's why all your friends and family, or at least most of your friends and family, may be this huge form of resistance to stop you from doing what you want to do. And, you know, I go through this all the time. Even with this trip, man, and it's crazy because you're going to have all this resistance in your way when you have this huge, profound change in your life. And I'm going through like, man, like a lot of heavy stuff lately. Not just like mental and heavy emotional stuff, but like personal stuff, you know what I mean? Like my poor Sapphire here, just like gone through quite a lot. She got like these tumors in her, and she just had her first operation yesterday. And it was like, yeah, been pretty full on, because like, you know, man's best friend, aren't you? Yeah. But I'm recognizing that for what it is. I know that all this stuff is just resistance. And all this stuff comes at the time where it's like you're about to have this huge transition in life. So don't take that as a sign to, oh, maybe I should stay where I am because the universe is giving me all this resistance. No. That's all your ego, right? You just got to be careful and not confuse this resistance as like, oh, you have to stay where you are. It's like, no, resistance is natural, right? We're all going to go through this resistance, about pushing through it. And you're going to find, like I said, the bigger the change and the closer you are to that transition, the more resistance comes. Because like, man, I'm about to go through like the biggest change in my life. And it's going to be pretty full on. I mean, I'm traveling to a foreign continent, and like I don't even have anything back here. Like, I mean, I've gone traveling heaps of times before, but I've always come back like I've either had a job here, or I got a course, I've got like some sort of specific plan. And I do have a plan for myself, but it's not quite crystallized quite yet, which is one of the reasons I'm going overseas, so I can get some isolation and just time to reconnect with myself, you know, and away from all these distractions and pollution and blah, blah, blah. You know how crazy society gets, especially when you're working 40 hours a week in a shopping center selling phones to people that you don't have a particular interest for. So it's like, it can be pretty full on. But at the end of the day, I'm doing all of this so I can buy my time back. That's what it is. And I know in my heart of hearts that it's going to be worth it. Even though I'm going through all this shit right now, I know it's just part of the journey. And it can be pretty full on, and just once you think like, okay, and now I've gone through my negative cycle, I'm going through this positive cycle, and then bang, life hits you with this other big thing where it's like, sets you back. But yeah, guys, like I said, your mind makes these problems a lot worse than what they actually are. And you may go through a lot of resistance from your family and your friends, and it's hard, man. It's really hard. But sometimes you just got to listen to your gut. You got to listen to your intuition and do what's right for you. And don't get distracted by all these other, opinions. And just remember that everyone projects their own stuff onto you. So you just got to be careful of who you listen to for advice. you know, actually throwing this video, I just want to go a little bit more on resistance. Even on this channel, I've got people writing to me like, hey Tom, like I'm concerned that you're kind of relying on psychedelics and blah blah blah. I think you're going too overboard and blah, blah, all this kind of shit. I'm like, whoa, where is all this coming from? And again, people are projecting their own stuff, and I know that this can, and, well, really, it is my ego kind of defending myself. But hear me out here. When it comes to psychedelics, put it this way, my last heavy psychedelic trip was like in Feb. It would have been ayahuasca. So for those who think that I'm going too overboard and like I'm going too crazy with this psychedelic stuff, it's like, I have a channel dedicated to psychedelics. Of course I'm going to talk about them a lot. And then people have that assumption that, oh, I must fucking do psychedelics every weekend. Hell nah, man, I'm fucking terrified of psychedelics. To be completely frank with you guys, because I've been, the last few times I've been in pretty scary places. The ayahuasca one was beautiful, but yeah, like I'm talking more mushrooms and DMT, pretty full on. And then I'm getting other comments that are like, no, you shouldn't go to South America. Oh, don't go to Mexico. It's so dangerous. You'll get kidnapped. Blah, blah, blah. And like all this shit. Like I'm just telling you that you're going to face resistance everywhere. And sometimes your mind will be like, oh, fuck, what? They have a point. What happens if that does happen? And then your mind just goes to these crazy places. Because, again, at the end of the day, the nature of your ego is like very resistant to change. So you just got to be aware of that. You know, that's all I'm saying. But I'm just persevering, seeing right through it. And end of the day, you got to listen to your heart, got to listen to your gut. They know what's best for you. You know what I'm saying? So just sometimes it's very good to, it can be very useful to just reconnect with yourself, you know, go to meditation. It's very important to isolate yourself from everybody from time to time, because a lot of your thought patterns and behaviors and all this kind of stuff is influenced by the people around you as well. So yeah. And also one more thing, I'm not telling you guys that you have to quit your job or do what I'm doing. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying though is to not give in to fear, right? If you are going through this huge transition, you have to make this big life decision. Just connect yourself to your heart and your gut. And sometimes it's going to be the thing that you're most afraid to do. And that's the thing that you have to do. And then when you make that decision, ask yourself, what is the worst thing that can happen? And can you live with it? If the answer is yes, you know what to do. Just want to give a shout out to Victor, who gave us this psilocybin hat. Pretty cool. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but yeah, if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description below. For those who did like this video, please leave a big like and share this video. It really does help us out and helps the growth of this channel. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. I do release content on a weekly basis. And of course, huge shout out to you guys supporting me on Patreon. I'm not just saying this, but if it wasn't for you guys, I would have had a break from this channel a long time ago. And you guys are the one who are making me push myself to keep releasing content on a weekly basis. And there have been some weeks where I've just been down in the dumps and like pretty brutal stuff. But I made a video anyway because I didn't want to disappoint you guys. So much love. That's it from me, guys. Catch you on the next video. Say goodbye, Sapphire. Alright, peace.